Becky, just to get things started, could you give us your overall thoughts on the game tonight?
Well, before I do that, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone for covering the Pride this season. I know that sometimes your job goes unappreciated, but you guys have been a real pleasure to work with, so thank you very much for that. Secondly, as far as the game, Jackie mentioned that you're going to have Phoebe and Tony. I thought both of them played an outstanding game. That's a partnership at center back that we hadn't played before, so for them to do such a great job with that was a real credit to both of them. I thought in the first half we had a hard time keeping the ball in the final third. Just couldn't quite connect, and obviously you have to give Chicago a little bit of credit for that too. Got a little bit better in that in the second half, but still not quite enough quality chances to be able to break through.
All right, we're going to go to Julia Pope for our first question.
Hi, Becky. Thanks, like always, for the time. Just kind of looking back on a few months ago when you first stepped into this position kind of unexpectedly, how did it match up to maybe what your expectations were, and how has kind of that time informed your decision to pull out of the coaching search? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd do it all again. It was an amazing experience. I feel like I've really learned a lot and had the opportunity to meet a ton of quality people, whether it's the staff or whether it's the players. I think there's a lot of quality people in this group, and really appreciate how welcoming they were when we came. I think in terms of expectations, I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but in the end, the most difficult part to wrap my mind around was the lack of results for us. But if you take that away, I think the experience was one that I really enjoyed, and I'm definitely going to continue to watch the Pride from maybe a little bit different angle now, not just a fan, but knowing the inside of it a little bit. It just makes me really excited for the future.
We're going to go to Austin David.
Becky kind of touched on it just now, but what does the future hold for you? Do you want to continue coaching, or do you want to kind of step back and go back into a bit more retirement role? Enjoy your time away from the game?
Well, that was the plan about 10 weeks ago, but no, I mean, I think for me, I would definitely like to help the Pride transition as much as I possibly can. My contract goes through the end of the year, and I'm more than happy to stay that long or longer if that transition is necessary to help out in any way I can. I just want good things for the organization. And beyond that, I'll continue to teach at UF, and who knows, wait for the next great adventure.
We're going to go to Jackie Gutierrez.
Thanks. Hey, Becky. Jackie here with Olympia Falls. With just the announcement of this being your last game with the Pride, what would be maybe just some of your final words of wisdom for these players as they embark on just another coaching transition this year? Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's really tough. I mean, that was a hard part of the job, was knowing that the team was going to face yet another transition. And I think that was also part of the reason for me to not stay on, because I think with new ownership, new attitude, new outlook, and I think they need to find someone that has got a little bit longer-term perspective. That was never going to be me, and I think it will really be best for the organization to start building for the future now.
We're going to go back to Julia.
Becky, we saw a couple of the team's star players out tonight with Ali and Ashley, and then also Marta. Just kind of what was the decision-making of having them be on the sidelines for this one?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was medically related, and, that international break and the travel doesn't really help people like Marta and Emily. That was tough. That's a long haul to go halfway around the world and then return 2 days before you play. But, for sure, I think the real superstars tonight is just the future. I mean, I'm very, very excited about what the future holds for this organization.
We'll go back to Austin.
Becky, I saw you and Alan talking to the team in the huddle right at the end. What were some of the kind of messages that you can share with us in terms of just the parting words for the team?
Mostly I think for both of us, we're just grateful for the opportunity, and it was definitely my pleasure to get this opportunity and to get to know these players on a personal level. I think for me, that's always been the most fulfilling part of coaching, and it's also the most difficult part to leave. But I'm excited that there's some really great younger players in this group. There's a lot of leadership developing, even in games like tonight, where we had a little bit different looking lineup than what we've had in the past. And I think only good things are going to come out of that.
We're going to go to Julia Pope for our final question.
Becky, in recent weeks, with everything that's been going on around the league, with the players calling for more protection and policies, you've been pretty outspoken about, wanting to be kind of an advocate for coaches to be improving, just the professionalism of the league. Do you have any hopes about, how maybe you could help to contribute to that in the future, or just kind of thoughts on how you think the coaches like yourself can contribute to that as you move into the off season?
I do. I mean, I think that, as a whole, not just professional coaching, but coaching as a whole needs a lot of work in the professionalism department. And that's something that, is continuing to grow, hopefully, as the years pass. And I would be happy to contribute. That's a passion of mine. That's the classes that I teach at UF are all about coach development. But more of it is just like also the collaboration side of it. So instead of us always feeling like we're competitors, finding ways that as coaches we can collaborate with one another too. Because I think in this league where the margin is so slim, I mean, you saw that tonight, how can we, almost better ourselves by striving together in a competitive way instead of pitting ourselves against one another. And then before I go, Julia, I'd just like to say to you, obviously you've been a huge coverer of the Pride, and I've always enjoyed your questions and your dedication, and you seem to have been also a really big advocate for the Pride, so I appreciate that.